Whenever I seem to sit here in the afternoon, I get this crazy blue light, and for the life of me, I can't figure out why, because it's not blue in here, but on Zoom and stuff, I show up blue, so... But it goes away for a second. What's the... So weird. Okay, so yeah, this is me made up, hair straightened, actually. You can still see my zip, but I have makeup on and I am looking better than before. My first intro video. Have a drink. There are these Malibu cocktail drinks. This one, I tried the pina colada, the strawberry daiquiri, and it looks so dark. It's not the best, but I'm trying it. But yeah, I did a little 6-minute intro video, just kind of trying out to see if I could upload a video, and I did. So this is one where I'm actually kind of thinking it through. And I think the thing that I want to think through or think out loud today is something I've been thinking a lot about, Mom and Dad and the divorce and stuff. It's been just over a year that I found out. That's one thing I found out on March, so it'd be a year and 2 months, but I say that I mark how long I knew, but do I count it from when I found out, or when it became official, or when mom told Dad that she wanted a divorce, even though I don't know what that date is, and although I am curious. But it's been a hard year. Could have been harder. Could have been easier, but definitely was hard. And I've been thinking a lot about why it's been hard. And I think I don't know, this past week, I think I finally had a moment where I realized exactly why this situation is so hard. And it's interesting when your parents get divorced when you're an adult, because, when you're a kid, all those problems seem very situational. Like your life is being changed, where you're living, holidays, and yes, holidays and where I stay has been altered a bit, but it's not what I base my identity off of anymore. Even me moving back home, it's not that same issue. And yet, why has this been such a hard thing? And it's hard. The mom can't seem to be around Dad. I don't think Dad loves being around Mom, but I think that if she tried to make it work, he would be more up for it, it's very much in her, ball's in her court, and Dad hit the ball into her court, and then she turned around and threw the ball over the tennis court fence, and it's not going to be seen, and now no one can play tennis anymore, so they're just staring at each other over the net. That's what's happening. But I think what's really been hard is seeing my parents dislike each other for personality traits that I see reflected in myself. And I'm worried it comes off as a selfish thing, It's not just that they don't like each other, but I am both of my parents, as we all are. And yes, my personality is also my own. No one is only just their parents. And I don't mean DNA. I mean personality traits, things that you grow up that you adopt from each of your parents. And we all have those. As much as we are individual, we also have parts of our parents. And I have my mom's interest in books and desire to be alone and love of history, and sometimes overreaction. I think we both get overly emotional and angry about things. We have this stubbornness to us. We do. And I acknowledge that about myself, and I acknowledge it about her. And I have my dad's goofiness and my attention to detail. I have both of these parts of them, and I've always loved that about myself. I love that because I love my parents, so I love that I have these different parts of them. Drink break. But what's hard now is that those two parts of them that I have in me, they now dislike each other for those very parts. You know, when my dad says my mom overreacts to things, and that it's hard to have a conversation with her, I see those parts of myself that overreact to things and can't get over things in myself. When my mom says my dad can be a little controlling about things, I see the part of myself that is controlling about things. So what do you do when your parent dislikes someone because of something that you share? So if my mom doesn't like my dad because of X, Y, and Z, and I have X, Y, and Z in me, there's that, like, you think, like, what, is my mom going to wake up one day and hate me because of those traits? And yes, I know. She's not. My mom loves me, and she is not going to suddenly be like, because of these traits, dislike me. That's not how it works. And my dad isn't suddenly going to turn to me and say, oh, you overreact to things too much. Like, he gets annoyed, but he's not going to be annoyed at me the same way. But if those things were enough for them to not want to talk to each other, do they have the same annoyance in me? But that ultimately isn't the worst part, because again, I know my parents love me and they're not going to suddenly, like, divorce me as a child. I think the thing that's really been hard has been kind of a secondary to that is that duality inside of me. Like I said, I have parts of my mom and dad in me that coexist within one person. So when those two people dislike each other, they can separate from each other, but I can't separate from myself. I cannot divorce different parts of my personality. So am I going to, wake up and suddenly hate these other parts of myself? Is the part of me that is my dad going to suddenly hate the part of me that is my mom? And I've never thought about that because for most of my life I thought my mom and dad were in love. So those parts of me that came from those two different people, I thought melded well together because they came from people who melded well together and were in a loving, stable relationship. But now these are represented by people who are very against each other. So the parts of my personality that I thought fit, turns out, are not perfect fits and are very, very against each other right now. So it almost feels like my own personality now feels at war with itself. And that was something that just kind of came to me this week. Last weekend I was on the phone with my mom and she just said, like, I don't like being around your dad. Like, I just can't be around him. And it was one of those classic, I'm not angry, I'm disappointed things. And it just made me really upset. And I don't know why, because my dad's fine, my mom's fine, but it made me feel like I was really offended. And I was like, why am I offended? My dad's not offended. I was offended. I realized after thinking on it that I was offended because I am so much like my dad. So when my mom says that she can't stand to be around him, I take it personally. Even though I know my mom isn't talking about me and she loves being around me. I know that she's not talking about being around me, but I still have that feeling in me right now. And so it's really hard to reconcile. And I don't know if it'll ever be reconciled. And it's hard. I never wanted to pick sides, and I love my mom and she's my best friend, but I am really fed up with her, if I'm being honest. I love her, and she's awesome, but I can't seem to side with her on a lot of the issues right now. I mean, she was the one who told my dad she wanted a divorce, and yet she gets angry when he goes on with his life, when she doesn't want to be friends with him. If you turn to someone after 20 plus years of marriage and say, I don't love you anymore, I don't want to be married, and you can't get angry at them if they do not want to be your best friend, like 2 months later, She was angry she couldn't come over to swim in the pool in July when they told us they were getting divorced in March. I find it ridiculous. And now she's based her entire current thing. She took that initial kernel of anger and just made it the cornerstone of her anger towards him. And I just feel like it's so unfair. And yeah, he did get in a relationship with Dee super, super, super fast. But now she's thinking of moving in with Tom. So now her relationship, although started later, has now progressed faster than his relationship with Dee. And she has the nerve to be angry with him. And I understand, and then I feel bad because, yeah, she did give up a lot of her life and family, and that's hard, but she keeps telling me there's things I don't know, but then she refuses to tell me what I don't know. So, unless I am missing some secret family scandal where he, pushed her into a wall or committed a great viral sin, then I don't really see what her point is. And I don't think any of that stuff happened because she would have told her dad. In no way that Pop would let dad basically run his company named after himself if dad was so overly bad to him. And I get it, because again, my mom and I have very similar personalities, so I can see where this anger is coming from. But oh my god, you need to fucking get over it. I'm just really disappointed in her. And it's not 100% her. I know my dad has his moments. He's not perfect, but I think a lot of it's kind of on her. And I didn't really realize why that upset me so much until this past week of thinking about it. But yeah. I don't know when we'll ever be together as a family again. I mean, it was all them minus me for Trav's graduation, so I don't know. In 2 years when Kyle graduates, if I'm able to fly down, maybe the 5 of us will be together, but I'm just fed up with trying, and I feel like it's put a wedge between my mom and I. She's still my best friend. Partially because I have no friends whatsoever. But it's hard for me to be as close with her. I don't tell her as much. I don't. I would tell her everything. There's so much I don't talk to her about. Because talking to her is like playing a game of Minesweeper. I never know which click is going to set it off. And to feel that way with every single conversation with your mom is exhausting. And when I visited her last, she said she was at peace and I had hope. And I've had hope a lot of times, and this time was no different, that it was false, fake, dumb hope. She'll never be satisfied. She'll never be okay with it. She can marry Tom and have a great life, and dad could just stay and break up with Dee and be single, but she's still gonna find a way to make herself out the victim. And I don't know. I know I'm biased, and I can't expect her to just let go of 20 plus years of her life like that, but I feel like I'm her emotional support crutch, more so than Travis and Kyle, and it's getting a little exhausting. So that's what it means to be an adult when your parents get divorced. A lot of bullshit. I just want them to get over it. But that's not gonna happen. So those are my Friday night 1.5 drinks thoughts. I don't have anything else to add. I don't know how to end this. But I'm okay. They're not okay, but I'm okay. Bye.